What the hell did I do to deserve this? You're gonna come at my emotions with a knife, gut them like some sort of discarded jack-o'-lantern 3 weeks after Halloween and expect to get away with it? 'Cause they're gonna, and I'm gonna let it happen with a smile on my face. Hey neighbor, thanks for stopping by to check out my review of the long-awaited full-length album by boygenius, a supergroup, or whatever you want to call them, made up of 3 insanely gifted musicians, Dacus, Phoebe Bridgers, and Julien Baker. I was so late to the hype train for everyone except for Julien, who I've been a fan of since the sprained ankle era, and I kinda hate myself a little bit for that. But it's okay, because after Phoebe's solo album Punisher drop-kicked my heart in 2020, I've been digging through all of their music like some sort of excited kid geeking out at a record store. The record bookends the 5-year gap from the excellent boygenius EP in dazzling fashion. The feeling of greatness is always in the air with these 3, so it's only fitting that a trio of excellent singles prominently featuring each of their voices kick things off. Many have drawn positive comparisons to older groups like Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young, and yeah, I do hear it, but obviously with much more modernity baked in, pun intended. There's this feeling of royal magic casting never-ending spells every single time their voices harmonize and collide. An indescribable feeling creeps up as the tracks build, echoing these sentiments of tortured religion, heartbreak, and even friendship to serve as the rock-solid pillars this boy band is built on. Indie rock permeates the record's DNA with elements of folk and pop balancing out the mix, since to me it always feels like the lens is expertly focusing on whatever little detail they want you to be drawn to, whether that's the touching harmonies on We're in Love, or Julian's orgasmic guitar twinges on the second verse of Not Strong Enough. Music these days is so often stuffed with unnecessary processing, fluff, studio tricks, whatever you want to call it. But alls I'm saying is that boygenius's use of more raw mechanics in the studio makes for an unbelievably sincere, conversational album that isn't afraid to strip it back before blowing the door off the hinges. It's made even better by the fact that these are not just 3 singers, 3 musicians that happen to sound good together like something you would see assembled on a talent show. You're listening to 3 best friends that genuinely love each other, and you can feel that, and they also love their craft as they rock the hell out of their instruments of choice. The lyrics, as always, are almost uncomfortably personal, and I say that because I know it might not work for everyone, but their way of writing harrowing sorrow with these glimmers of hope totally engrosses me. Volcanic guitars will have you worshipping at the feet of Julien Baker, POV, your Phoebe and Lucy at the end of the Salt in the Wound solo from the iconic Brooklyn Steel performance. I wouldn't go as far as to say that anybody completely outshines the other, because obviously this wouldn't work if any of the 3 pieces were missing, but Julien Baker is king, there's no way around it, and it brings me immense joy to see her confidence at its peak after all of these years and songs of death and despair, which still isn't out of the picture, but here she sells it so incredibly well with power to back it up from her guitar. Having revisited everything from Stranger in the Alps to the boygenius EP and Better Oblivion Community Center in the week leading up to the record, Phoebe's writing on this album leaves something to be desired, at least in places, because other times she knocks the lights out. But unfortunately, with like Revolution Zero, it's kind of the only track on the album that I struggle to stay on board with because of the writing. Back to the beginning, we open with the Fly on the Wall a cappella number Without You, Without Them, before roaring into one of the greatest songs of the year, $20. The composition of $20 itself is flawless, but then you have Julien leading the way with some inexplicably phenomenal harmonies that would be tangled up in the wrong hands, yet here, they thrive like a garden in the spring with some brutal screams from Phoebe to boot. Emily, I'm Sorry carries an extraterrestrial confessional atmosphere with a really sneaky punch that really starts sizzling with the second verse. Now we pull into the Dacus hype train station, because up until now, I haven't really gotten a chance to single her out, but my god, what a talent! True Blue is the exact vibe that I crave more and more of. Her album Home Video cracked my top 10 albums in 2021, and I think she's well on her way with this album with boygenius yet again. Expert vocal trade-offs happen on the enchanting Cool About It, and I love seeing each of the boys getting their verse to shine. The sharp but sparse production lets the mellow mood soak in, while a hint of twang reminiscent of maybe Stay Down desperately makes me want them to tackle a country album.
Cowboy, take me away.
Not Strong Enough is this album's motherfucking anchor if I've ever heard one. The serotonin rush serves like a pro tennis player every time, as the delectable music backs their towering voices, steadily building to the bridge where Lucy becomes the total standout, singing Always an Angel, Never a God, before unleashing that final chorus that makes me feel absolutely talentless at anything by comparison. Lucy is able to find humor in the unexpected via the interlude aptly titled Leonard Cohen, before the album explodes yet again with the stupid catchy riff-centric Satanist that hits like ripping an IV straight out of your arm. That's the kind of intense emotion I'm talking about. And that, alongside the other Julien-centric offering Anti-Curse, they satiate this cleansing desire to lay the groundwork and let the music speak loudly from the soul, with the line, "It's coming in waves, shoots through my mind like a pinball strayed," really sticking. Not to discount We're in Love sandwiched in between, because it's a beautiful proclamation of friendship. It just tends to throw off the pacing ever so slightly compared to the rockier inclinations of the tracks around it. Our sunsets on the record at Letter to an Old Poet that's sure to become a huge fan favorite due to the amount of Easter eggs littered throughout, but payoffs come in all sizes, and this one delivers a bitter slice of humanity that sees the trio weary and wanting to return home. How did I not see this coming? The record is more than just the Book of Ecclesiastes, it's the Holy Bible for wayward souls delivered in gut-punching chapters. boygenius's full-length debut is remarkable, cathartic, and life-affirming, and I'm giving it a strong 4.5. Alright neighbors, what did you think of the record? Let me know in the comments down below, check out some recent reviews on screen, and don't forget to hit that like button. This was all just my opinion, but I am very excited about this album, and I'm also very stoked because my wife and I are going to see them in June in Wilmington, so if you're going to be at that show, come say hey. Anyways, for now, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.